Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name's Julie and today's video is going to be my 3-month update. I had gastric bypass surgery on October the 2nd and it is currently December 6th. Now I've gone back and forth a lot on whether or not I really want to be public with my weight, especially on the internet, just letting everybody know, letting it all hang out, but I'm actually going to do that. If you follow me on Instagram, this won't be new to you. My Instagram handle, by the way, if you're interested, for my weight loss account is julieslayslbs, pounds, LBS. So Julie Slays Pounds. And I post a lot of updates on there. So if you're interested in following my journey more real time, you can go ahead and give me a follow on there. So I am 5'4.5" and my highest recorded weight back in 2015 is 256 pounds. The reason I say highest recorded weight is because there's a chance I weighed a little bit more than that at some point and was too afraid to step on the scale. But by the time I actually got on that scale, that is the weight that was there. Before I started my pre-op diet, I was about 225 pounds. And on the morning of surgery, I was 211 pounds. I currently weigh 180 pounds, which means I've lost about 31 pounds since surgery, 45 pounds since starting the weight loss surgery process, and 76 pounds since my highest recorded weight. The goal weight that my surgeon's office has set for me is 140 pounds, which means I have another 40 pounds to lose before I am done. It's so funny because if you would have asked me, 10 years ago if I would ever be publicly announcing how much I weigh, never in my life did I think I would feel comfortable doing that. But now that I've had the surgery, now that I'm on this really crazy journey to health, I just find that I think it can be helpful to people to just be real about your situation, your struggles, and your experiences and what ends up helping you. And so I hope that if nothing else, that this helps you either feel less self-conscious about your highest weight or maybe gives you some hope in your current situation, something like that. I think my biggest victory so far with this whole surgery has been that my last A1C test came back and my level was 5.5, which isn't even pre-diabetic anymore. I am, however, still taking medication. I'm on metformin for that. So my hope is that at a lower weight, my body will be functioning better, that with exercise over time also, that those things will kind of even themselves out and that I'll be able to have an A1C like that without medication. However, I know that, sometimes that isn't how it works out and I'm okay with that. If I have to take metformin, but my A1C is this great, then I'll take that. Before surgery, I was in a tight 16. Like 16s were tight on me and not many of my pants were fitting comfortably. I am currently at a size 12 to 14. If it runs small, maybe a size 14, but generally speaking, I think I'm a 12. I actually fit in a size medium t-shirt, which I was pretty excited about, although I think I'm probably more like a large. And I have noticed that my shoe size is a little bit different. I think if I had to put an actual number on that one, I'd say maybe my foot has shrunk half a shoe size, something like that. Something that I think people always, consider when they're gonna get a surgery like this is loose skin. I'm obviously not at my goal weight yet, so we have yet to see if that's gonna happen or not for me. Although I will say, having lost about, 75 pounds total, I do have a little bit of loose skin on my upper underarm area. Aside from that, not really, but I still have about 40 pounds left to lose, so we'll see. When I get down to my goal weight, maybe I'll kind of do an update video on my skin. I never thought I'd be comfortable with talking about my weight on camera and giving the exact weight out there, but even less so did I think I would want to show kind of my biggest insecurities on camera, but who knows, maybe we'll put that on there too. I would say that the hardest part of this whole process was the pre-op diet. Everyone's pre-op diet looks a little bit different. Mine was really intense. I can get into that whole story because it is a story, but I would just say that was the hardest part for me. And I knew that those 2 weeks and then the first 2 weeks of recovery would probably be the hardest part of the whole process, physically speaking. And I was absolutely correct about that. So basically for the full 2 weeks before surgery, I felt totally and completely miserable. I was running off of a very small amount of food and very low carb and sugar count, and it was intense. I felt sick the whole time. And then when I actually had the surgery itself, of course, I was recovering from being operated on. So the first solid month of this process for me was the absolute hardest. It continued to be kind of a healing process for the first month and a half after surgery, and then after that I started to feel a lot more normal. I'm debating whether or not I want to show my scars on video or not. I haven't showed those on camera either on my Instagram account. I think I will. So I have 5 scars all on my belly, and they're not too bad. Definitely don't bother me at all. To be honest, I think part of that is because my stomach already had stretch marks on it, and what's a couple scars on top of some stretch marks? Something that I noticed was that for the first month, maybe even 2 months after surgery, I was just tired all of the time, and doing the smallest little task was exhausting. For instance, especially the first month and a half after surgery, even just taking a shower was so exhausting that usually I'd fall asleep afterwards. After surgery, you're on a liquid diet for a while, so you're really not eating food, and that on its own would make you tired, but on top of it, your body is healing from having surgery without getting a whole lot of nutrients or anything to nourish it. So you're gonna have really low energy at first, but eventually it gets better and you feel much more normal. I also wasn't allowed to have coffee until a month after surgery, and I was really thankful when I was able to drink coffee 1 month post-op. Everything changed. The energy levels just returned to a somewhat normal level, and I was really thankful for coffee. Coffee remains my lifeblood. So as you incorporate regular foods back into your diet, it's an interesting transition because you're using kind of a new digestive system, especially after gastric bypass surgery opposed to the sleeve surgery. So you want to incorporate those things slowly and a little bit at a time. The only things I've noticed that have given me kind of consistent pain in my stomach when I eat them, they just sit heavy, they don't go down well, is eggs, occasionally chicken, especially if it's cooked too dry, and pork type meats. Hey guys, I forgot to mention, I can't really eat apples either. Apples and even grapes kind of make my stomach feel just irritated and make me kind of bloated. So those are the only other things that I can really think of. Aside from this, I really haven't had very many food sensitivities. So I feel like my experience has been quite a bit different than anyone else's that I've heard of. That was the thing that I saw the most though, was you can do so much to try to prepare for your own situation, but you really won't know what it's going to be like until you're there yourself. That has absolutely been the case for me. I feel like what I'm about to say is different than anyone else I've ever heard. So hopefully this can prepare you for one other possible angle. And that is that I can eat so much more than I thought I would be able to eat. I really was expecting to be sick for a lot of not just recovery, but especially during the first year after surgery. I thought I would be eating a few tablespoons of food at a time for at least the first 3 to 6 months. I fully expected to have dumping syndrome, to be really sensitive to sugar or maybe even fat. And I expected to just eat a very, very small amount and not have to worry about pacing myself as far as portion sizes goes and things like that. That has not been my experience at all. In fact, I was a little bit thrown off, disappointed, and scared by this. So right away, I was able to eat a lot more than what they originally said my pouch would be able to hold. I believe they say that after gastric bypass surgery, your pouch can hold 2 to 3 ounces at a time, I was able to have more than that almost immediately. I don't know why. I don't know if sometimes different people's just ends up a little bit different. During surgery, they didn't mention that they had to adjust anything because of any complications. They said everything went well. Because I was a lighter weight for this surgery when I had it, I was right at that line where you qualify and don't qualify. Part of me has wondered if they made my pouch a little bit bigger because of that, but they didn't say anything, so I only can guess. My point is, I was able to eat and drink a lot more than I thought I would be able to right away. This caused me to question, did I even have surgery? Is this all one big joke? Did they cut me open and poke around a little bit and then just leave everything the way it was? Because I can eat way more than I thought I'd be able to. I can pretty much eat everything, just I have to be careful with how I eat it, and I have to make sure that I am eating slowly enough and chewing enough. I was told that everyone's different, while at the same time being told that I might not be hungry anymore, that I might not enjoy food the same way anymore, that I might have to force myself to eat because I probably won't feel like eating. And even though those things don't sound good, I was ready for them. I was okay with that happening. I was okay with being really ultra sensitive, with not being able to eat hardly anything. I was okay with that. It was a part of the calculated risk that I was taking by having the surgery. I have decided to change my whole life, so I was okay with being super sensitive and just eating like a bird. I think I was more okay with that happening than I was with being able to eat pretty much whatever I want and to be able to eat plenty of it. That's actually way scarier to me because I've made this decision to change my life, and now I'm like, wait, this tool isn't really working for me as much as I expected it to. So the harder part for me has been more about guilt over if I've been eating what I think is too much for a weight loss surgery patient, or maybe not the best food choices for a weight loss surgery patient, because I'm able to eat things and able to eat amounts that I never expected. At the same time, I really am eating way less than I used to before, like a significantly smaller amount. So if we're talking calories, my amount is definitely at a deficit. I'm not eating crazy copious amounts of food, and my food choices are generally pretty spot on. I try to eat really healthy and keep my protein intake up, keep my vitamins and my water intake up. But really, I can eat things, and sometimes things go down really easily that I'm not necessarily supposed to be eating yet. For instance, my doctor's office wants us to not really be having starches until we've hit a certain amount of weight loss, and I've already incorporated starches into my diet. I said I wasn't sensitive, but there will be some days that I can't really eat meat. And meat is such a great source of protein. It's the protein source I prefer out of all of them. With all of that said, I really do eat so much less than I used to, and so much less than the average person. I was honestly so convinced, because I've had a sensitive stomach for basically my whole life, that I was going to be one of the people who got dumping syndrome. And I almost feel like the surgery resolved a lot of that. Not that my stomach doesn't get sensitive still, it does. However, I'm not anywhere near dumping syndrome. Another thing that I've noticed is that if I wait too long to eat, so just say I wake up, I have coffee, and I don't eat breakfast, and it's like, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock by the time I start eating, I'm going to have a harder time eating for the rest of the day. The amount of food I'm going to be able to eat at a time, the amount of food I'm going to be able to get in throughout the whole day is going to be much smaller than if I start eating right away at the beginning of the day, like a yogurt cup or whatever. So while I don't have a whole lot of sensitivities, I do have days where I'm really only able to eat a very small amount, and then I'll have days where everything goes down great and I don't have any issues. One of my best friends had this surgery a couple years before I did, and she was very sensitive all of the time. She lost a lot of weight really quickly, and I feel like mine has been kind of the opposite of that. I'm able to eat a lot more. I'm able to eat a wider variety of foods. I don't get sick all the time. I don't have dumping syndrome. So instead, I'm dealing with a lot of guilt And I've been really trying not to do that because that's really just counterproductive in a weight loss journey. I had this surgery to really reinforce my decision to change my life, but the choice has always been mine, and I am still in the place where I've decided to change my life, and I'm going to drop all of the weight. I'm going to have a healthy relationship with food. I'm going to be more active. I'm changing my life for the better, and the surgery is a great tool for me to do that. Weight loss surgery as a tool is never going to be something that you have the surgery and then you just don't struggle with food anymore or with your weight any longer. It's really just a tool at the beginning of your journey to a new healthy lifestyle. So I've definitely had to have more self-control at the beginning of this than I thought that I would have to. But that's okay because I've decided that I'm going to have a healthy relationship with food, and I'm going to work on the emotional eating aspect of things, on being active, on building healthy habits that I can sustain for life and that are going to keep me and my body in a healthy place. I did notice that my weight loss was pretty slow at first. My first week I lost a lot. After that, it slowed down, and I was thinking, how is this even possible? How am I losing such a normal amount of weight when I'm barely eating anything? You know, especially at the very beginning when I was on, liquid. What really helped pick up the pace of my weight loss was getting more active. So I have a Fitbit, and I love my Fitbit. It really helps me to stay active. I make sure that I average at least 10,000 steps a day. Really, I try to hit at least 10 every day, but occasionally I'll have a day where that's just not very doable. And if I make up for it during the rest of the week, that's fine with me. This really helped me to burn more calories because I might not be consuming a lot, but if I'm not burning a lot, I'm not gonna lose a lot of weight. It's all about the deficit. So once I started being more active, I did notice that I was also a little bit hungrier than I had been before that. So making sure that I'm staying on my eating plan, eating the right things, stopping before I get full, and being as active as possible have all been things that have helped me a lot throughout the last few months. Of course, I had my surgery right before the holidays and was healed and able to eat on Thanksgiving and Christmas. I did indulge a little bit during those times also, which I think did slow down my weight a little bit, but not anything too much. I think I'm just, 2 to 3 pounds behind what was kind of forecasted by my doctor. I think the biggest challenge for me right now is just making sure that I eat slowly enough, that I chew my food enough, and making sure that I get enough protein in every day. Those things have been harder. But aside from that, everything is going well. Weight loss is going well. I am losing weight at a pretty slow rate for a weight loss surgery patient. However, I started my surgery at a fairly low weight, so I'm not too worried about it. My doctor has projected that I should be able to be at my goal by April, May, somewhere in that timeline. So far so good. Everything's going pretty well. I'm very happy with my decision. There hasn't been any time that I have regretted my decision to have surgery. Although I've heard a lot of people say that that's really normal, that after surgery they have an amount of time that they have kind of regrets from having changed their body so permanently. But I was so sure of my calculated risk that I haven't felt any regrets or even for a moment second guessed my decision that I've made. And I'm really happy, really pleased with my decision so far. So I think that that's all I'll include for this video. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below. I will answer in the comments, but I also will probably include them in my next video and talk a little bit more in depth about them on camera. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that it was somewhat informative. I don't really know what to include in these, but anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you'll stick around, subscribe, check out some more videos. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.